Hey everyone, this is Susan at EVPL Red Bank, and today I'd like to show you how to do some basic mending for your clothes. So we're going to start out with how to fix a ripped seam, and then we are going to move on to a general clothing rip, and then we're going to show how to sew on a button. So the first step in mending a seam is turning your clothes inside out. And what we are going to do to start off is we are going to pinch a little bit away from where the actual rip is just to secure it better. And we are going to go in and back up. And we will put our thread through that little loop there, and that will secure it better. And from here, we're going to do a running stitch, which is just down and up, down and back up. And we just repeat doing that all the way down. And we can do that a little bit faster with a method called rocking, where you would just go down, up, down, up, down, up, etc. And see how much faster that goes? The only problem is you have to have quite a bit of practice with this to make sure that your aim is good, because otherwise your line's going to be a little bit wonky. The other downside is whenever you do this and you pull through, especially if you pull too tight, it's going to pucker your fabric. So you're going to have to go back every time that you do the down, up in quick succession and straighten your fabric back out just so that you don't have a cinched arm. And so you're going to continue this stitch. Let me straighten it to show you. Just kind of do that until you get a little bit past where the rip is. And from there, we are going to do a whip stitch to keep these ends from fraying. This has been the actual mending of the seam, and this is going to keep it from fraying any further. So what you're going to do, I flipped over the work just because it's easier for me, and I'm going to do this whip stitch down where you just go down, obviously whip the thread back towards you, but it will sort of already be towards you, which is why I like to do it this way. Down, down, down. If you're noticing, I'm kind of holding the thread under my thumb. That helps it from going all kinds of directions. Down, down. And I wish there was a way to get this done faster, kind of like with the running stitch. But unfortunately, I think you're going to have to just keep going one stitch at a time. And so, as you approach the end, with this, again, still, you're going to go until where you began with the running stitch. And that may seem silly that you are going to be securing ends where the ends are already secured, but trust me, since the thread is already kind of cut on the original garment from where it ripped, you're going to want that extra protection. And if it's giving you trouble, you can use your needle to fix that back up. All right, so once you get to the end, what you're going to do is you are going to make one last stitch pretty much where you were. And you are going to pull your thread until it makes a loop. You see this loop here. Then you put your needle through and pull tightly until it makes another loop. Needle through and pull. And if you want to, I would also recommend going back through a couple last stitches just to make it extra secure, because if that knot gets undone or the thread tears, it makes it a lot more at risk of that area re-ripping. So Let's check our progress. And it's pretty much good as new. So what we're going to do from here is I'm going to show you how to repair just a regular rip on the flat fabric, not where fabric has gone together like the seam would have been. And what you're going to do, you don't even have to flip this inside out. From the back, you're going to give it a little bit of room and put the needle in. And this will just get you to your working fabric. And what you're going to do is something called the mattress stitch. So you are going to go down and up on the left side, parallel with the tear. And then you are going to repeat this down and up with the right side of the tear. And you are going to continue down and up, parallel to the tear, to the point where it looks a little bit like railroad tracks, sutures, anything like that, maybe shoelaces. And once you've got about 5 or so, you just pull tight and it vanishes. So obviously it's going to look like there's a seam here still. That can't really be avoided, but you're not going to see the stitches at all. And this is called the mattress stitch. If you want to look up further tutorials. And so, like with the last seam, pull tight, you are going to want to go just a little bit past where the rip actually was. And then when you're ready, make sure you don't pucker that. Once it looks good to you, you just put the needle back down and you can tie it off. And so the last repair I'd like to show you is how to sew on a button. So let's figure out where we want to place the button first of all. This is an old sleeve, so obviously this doesn't matter as much as if it was on a jacket or a coat. But you're going to maybe want to mark where you want to put your button with chalk or something like that if you can, just to make sure that it's centered properly. And so I'm going to put it about here. Make sure that you've got the holes aligned and even. And what you're going to do is you are going to go up with the needle through one of the holes. I would recommend starting with the bottom left because I am a big fan of the bottom left. And then you would go up through the diagonal. So I would go top right if you start with bottom left. Or if it's a 2-hole button, just the other buttonhole. And so from there, you would repeat going bottom left to top right. And you can do this anywhere between 2 and 5-ish times, I'd say. I've done this 2. Let's try 3. And from there, from the top right, if you have a 4-hole button, I'd go down to the bottom right and then up through the top left. And you can repeat that about 3 times. Just make sure they're even. If you do 2, you do 2 on both sides. If you do 5, you do 5 on both sides, either way. And so whenever you get to your last one, what you're going to do is you're going to fold the fabric back and put it just through the buttonhole, not through the fabric. And you're going to wind 1, 2, 3 times around the button, but not the fabric. And this will keep it from being too tight against the fabric. And then from there, you will put your needle through the fabric and tie off. And there you have it. That is how you sew on a button, mend a tear, and mend a seam. Thank you for watching. If you like this, if you mend your own clothes, make sure to follow us on social media. It's EVPL Library across all platforms. We'd love to see what you make, what you fix, anything like that. We hope you're safe and well. Have a great day.